Good morning, guys. Welcome to Thursday. What used to be fartlek day, now phase 3, it's progressive tempo day. This morning you can see it's 87, just miserable, and humidity was still insane at 50%. So if it takes me 55 hours or less to recover, I'll be seriously impressed because, today was hard. Just hard. 3 days, all right. Well, as I said, it was hard. All right. There you go. A 742 average mile, 7.05 miles altogether. Any achievements? Still holding at 53. I should graduate soon, I hope. All right. I seriously need a shower because you can see I've got liquid awesome all over me, and I will meet you downstairs. Oh yeah, 7 miles. Okay. There you go. 10,000 steps for the day. I'm good. Hey guys, good morning and welcome to Thursday of Phase 3, Week 9 of my 16-week marathon training program. And normally on Thursdays we were in Phase 2. I was doing fartlek runs, fartlek runs. 7 miles where I would sit there and every half, by the last few times anyways, every half mile I was basically doing a sprint or a stride, however you want to call it, for the period of, or for the duration of about 100 meters. And that was a great way of adding speed to a long run, but at the same time teaching my legs how to deliver speed as progressive fatigue would set in over the course of 7 miles. So nice to know that even 6 and 7 miles into it, I could still pick up the speed as needed. Now on Phase 3 is all going to be about building strength and endurance. So taking the speed that I've been building in the first 8 weeks and learning to make that speed last for longer distance. So today, and what I'll be doing during Phase 3, will be instead of doing fartlek run today. Today I did a progressive run, a 7-mile progressive run. So the same course as I would always run on Thursdays, but it was a progressive run. And for some of us who know what that is, basically it's negative splits. And so if you've run negative splits, which is basically every mile is faster than the previous mile, that's also kind of a progressive run. Same kind of concept. And so, as you saw when I came back today, I was definitely feeling it. It was definitely a very challenging run, a rewarding run, and a very hot and humid run. So before we get into that, let's go ahead and start our day out with our daily shot of wheatgrass. I just rested my bowl here because the head on this was kind of pouring over a little bit, and so that's why I just rested this in my bowl. So cheers. All right. I will admit, when you go all natural, it sure tastes better than when you add actual fertilizer to the soil. So, anyhow, if you guys want, I'll go ahead and show you my wheatgrass farm and let you know how basic. Oh, I'm going to choke. I'll let you know that how basically from seed to juice is about 14 days. But anyhow, let's go ahead and get started. And you can see here this morning, 7.05 miles. I spent a total of 54 minutes doing this. My average pace today was 7:42. And now normally when I was doing those, when I was doing the fartlek run, my average pace normally on this same distance was right there close to 8, 7:52, 8, something like that. And so clearly for the duration I was definitely running faster. And I spent 816 calories. Now Google and Garmin seem to be pretty much on the same page, and including here when we enlarge this, they claim there was a 3-mile-an-hour wind. Quite frankly, if there was, I didn't notice it. They're also claiming 52% humidity. Okay, so within reason, they're right there. 86 and 52% humidity equals fun. That's sarcasm. Um, so yes, so what I did today, as you can see, I did under what might be deemed as very warm temperatures and very it's clearly a very humid, a very humid day. So my body was not only dealing with the demand of the speed I was requesting of it, it was also dealing with trying to keep myself cool. And as you saw from the Liquid Awesome, my body did a pretty good job with the cooling factor per se. Now getting back to this, we come down here and yeah, I did a little artificial spike thing again, got that cleared up. Got stuck at the light here. Actually, I kind of ran into traffic, and for some reason, I like a good game of Frogger, but I almost didn't see this car. Fortunately for me, I was in the what would be like the right lane, and they were in more like the center lane. So I definitely got a little bit more into the street than I would have, or would have liked to have. And fortunately, they were pretty cool about it. I noticed them slow down, but I let them pass, and then I carried on. At least they didn't honk and get like obnoxious, so that was good. Now, other than that, yes, you could see a nice, slow, progressive increase in my heart rate. We're looking at my numbers here, and yes, I was seriously peaking I hit what, 181 a couple times. Right there, you see 181. And so, yeah, I definitely had a challenging run. Come down here, we look at my legs. As you guys know, I've been dealing with lower like calf pains. I still was dealing with that a little bit today. And so my stride started out short, and of course got shorter as of course as the speed picked up. Then my legs warmed up and my stride came back down to 182. And then even for my last mile, dropped down to 178. So pretty impressive there. Now this is where it gets interesting. We come down here, maximum heart rate 181, aerobic threshold 5.0. So what does that mean? I'm an overachiever. Yes, I was overreaching. We could read here that this activity was very demanding. While it could be significantly improve your cardiorespiratory fitness, it can become harmful without enough recovery time and should be done sparingly. And so, what does that mean? It means no run tomorrow. Yeah, I'll let the legs rest because Saturday's going to be a long run, and we're not talking 10 miles, we're talking like 16 plus. So I'll let the legs rest tomorrow, and of course let the heart rest tomorrow as well. Now getting back to here, average cadence was 182 strides. Yes, probably because dealing with little calf pains, my legs weren't too eager to get the legs out there or get my stride long. For the most part, average moving pace comes out to 742. Best pace 624. That's legit. I checked that. Taking a look at my splits, and yes, first mile warmed up at 8:45. Fine. Now, before I show you further this or more of this, to better understand what you're going to look at, this was today's goal. I do my warm-up mile, and as you guys normally know, on fartlek day, I usually run 8s as a recovery. So mile 1 was going to be 8. Then every mile I was going to chop it down 15 seconds a mile. So mile 2, or mile 2 my speed work, or mile 3 altogether, mile 3 was going to be 7:45. Then I was going to drop it down to 7:30. Then a 7:15. Then a 7 flat. Now, clearly, that gives me 6 miles. I had 1 left to go, and I was going to feel that one out because I contemplated, well, maybe I can do that 1 more mile at 6:45, which would have been marathon pace per se. But I wanted to feel that out because clearly I'm not here to hurt myself. I'm not here to overtrain, although I managed to accomplish that. But more importantly, I wanted to see what my body felt like doing. I was listening to my body. Though the data I share with you guys is fantastic, the data my watch provides on the run is great, it's great feedback, I still listen to what my body says because I'm not committed to any specific regimen if my body doesn't feel like performing. I'm not going to make it do that. And so my last mile could have been 6:45 or it could have been recovery mile. Today I chose to make it recovery mile. Since obviously this is my first time out doing this in a long time, I thought that was a good idea. So when we look at our numbers, 8:45 first mile, that's fine. Second mile, right there, 2 seconds shy of my 8-minute mile, great. Mile 3, I managed to hit my 7:45 on the dot, fantastic. Mile 4, brought it down to 7:30, kick butt, great. Mile 5, I managed to go ahead and hit my my 7:15, just a second shy. Now mile 6, this is where it gets interesting. You're saying, well, that's supposed to be a 7-minute mile. You're right, that was the goal. However, because I wanted to see for myself, because I was going to mention this today. As we know, I was playing with that VO2 max thing, the velocity of VO2 max. And so during my run, I was clearly a little brain dead, and I accidentally tripped my watch. I stopped at mid-run, like, oh no, this is bad. So I quickly restarted it, and because I don't frequently do that, I didn't know for certain if Garmin was going to start it all over like brand new mile, or because it was a short duration, it was just going to pick up where I left off. I wasn't certain. And so, real quick on the VO2 max, during this next mile we're talking about, it did register at, I believe it was 112. It's like 112 with some decimal number, but I really don't care about the decimal number. So I registered about 112 because I wanted to see this far into my run. Obviously every mile I'm getting faster, but where was the cardiovascular adaptation? Was I improving? Was I making things harder on myself internally? I wanted to see. So that's why I was looking, and I try to look about what seemed to be about 100 meters or 200 meters before the end of the mile, because I wanted to make certain that I was done playing with my watch before I got to the end of my mile. And of course, on accident, I tripped my watch. So shame on me there. So yeah, my VO2 max was about 112, 6 miles into the game. But what was interesting, and I think now at the end of the mile, because I didn't know if it was still registering the mile I was in, I manually clicked it over at the beginning of the intersection. Now I know sometimes it tends to trip at the beginning of the intersection, sometimes it tends to trip through the through the intersection. So I wasn't certain if it was going to trip. So I took the initiative to trip it myself, and so either I manually shortened my mile a little bit, or that pause in the watch while still moving created the distance gap. I really don't know. However, when we look at mile 6, though it says 6:58 was average moving, my average pace was 6:52. Now, mile 6 was supposed to be a 7-minute mile, and as I shared with you guys a little bit earlier, just moments ago, had my body been up to it, mile 7 would have been a 6:45. Keep that in mind. So, it tells me average pace was 6:58, average moving pace was 6:52. At 98 hundredths of a mile, I still finished off the mile at 6:52. So, I just ran you could say a marathon pace mile, because actually 6:51.7 would have gotten me a 3-hour finish had I run the entire marathon at that pace. So, you might say the last speed mile was marathon pace mile. Okay, that's fine. Although I'd like to make it 6:45, and to be frank with you guys, if I can comfortably run 6:45 or 6:40 for the duration, I want insurance, because as anybody who's run marathon, you know you tend to slow down towards the end. And I want to be able to buy some time in the early part of the race so that should I slow down at the end of the marathon, which technically I'll probably end up doing, at least I've got some time in the bank I could use and still meet my goal. So going back here, so you say, okay, I 6:52 and 98 hundredths of a mile. I'm not going to sweat 200ths of a mile, so I'm thinking that's pretty accurate. And so I was very, very pleased with that. Now, you might say, how could you finish? How could your average your mile time be 6:52 when your average pace was 6:58? Well, I looked into this, and it turns out this is what happened during this mile. And just so you guys know how I got this information, we come up here, and from this point to this point would be mile 6. Okay, so watch the black dot with the black circle with the white dot, and what we're looking for is, now what we're going to do is look at the blue. Look at the blue. There is like white numbers in black. 39:16. That lets you know 39 minutes and 16 seconds into my run, I was at the beginning of mile 6. Now we follow the black dot to where mile 6 ends. Come on, play nice. Come on, play nice. It's not good. Okay, right there. So now we're looking at 46:08. So we went from 39 to 46:08. Now we enlarge this, and we look at, here we go, watch. We're going to go from 39 to, well, you could pretty much tell that, because this is when I'm slowing down for my recovery mile. So we'll do that. And so you'll see, cruise along, okay, the goal was 7. So, and then again, this is right after doing my U-turn at the beginning of the mile. So I'm getting my speed on, that's fine. And now about here, we're finally breaking 7, okay, fine. You know, within a couple seconds below, fine, we're doing good. So you're saying, well, how can you run 8 seconds faster when you've been cruising along at the 7? Because this is that place where I tripped my watch. Clearly, I was really distracted by my watch. I'm like, oh my God, slow down. I get it started again. Well, getting back to the game, I went ahead and took off, sprint. Well, not sprint, but I definitely picked up the pace to try to get back in the game. And you see here, I picked out 6:25. And now for the balance, pretty much the balance of that mile, I am definitely below the 6:50 mark until about here. So we go from 45:23 to 46:02. So for 41 seconds, I was below the 6:50 speed. So for 41 seconds, I managed to run faster than I needed to. And 41 seconds, for what we just saw, equaled out to that 8 seconds off the clock, per se, if that makes sense. So that's how I managed to, you might say my average pace was 6:58. And when I glided along the blue line, we would agree with that. On average, we would agree with that. But we take that little dip and do a brief sprint for, 41 seconds? Well, we clearly just shaved 8 seconds off the entire mile in 41 seconds, while still maintaining the average mile speed that we were shooting for. So that's kind of how that happened. I was still pleased with this because inadvertently, unintentionally, I managed to create a marathon pace mile. Although it should have been down here at number 7, I managed to do it for number 6. And now number 7 was recovery mile. Now, interesting thing about that and this is why these two are highlighted. Real quick, look at my heart rate. Heart rate progressively picking up, fine. And yes, you could see for a couple miles, I did peak out at 181. Heat and humidity, gotta love it. So 181 on a couple miles, and now this is why these are highlighted. Mile 3 was a 7:45. That was a target pace. My recovery mile turned into 7:47. I pretty much let my body do whatever I wanted to do, and trust me, 47 seconds off of this makes a noticeable difference. It really felt like an 8-minute mile to me. But what I was getting at was here, because I've been telling you guys about how I've been dealing with lower calf pains, and I think I might know the reason for that, but because I know there were a couple times I was doing some training, like my speed drill days, or my intervals. I was using compression sleeves. Not the full sock, but the sleeve that basically goes from like your ankle to your calf, like the top of your calf. And was that the cause of it? I don't know. I've stopped using that, and the pains are definitely slowly going away, but they're slowly going away. So because I'm dealing with this calf pain, every time I hit the ground, my legs are not too eager to do this. They want to do this. They want to stay close to home, which is why here we could see that my average cadence was short. I definitely had, I was definitely running more strides per minute. More strides per minute. And now mile 3, 7:45, I was running a 184. Now after the day I just had on my recovery mile, real similar pace, we gotta agree, real similar pace, my stride opens up. So, clearly, by this time, when you look at all these miles of this crazy ass heart rate, my body is being pumped with endorphins. And endorphins are the happy drugs. They make you naturally happy, and it's kind of fun. You guys who've done speed work, you know what I'm talking about. Unfortunately, the longer you run, the more you have to do to get the same effect. But endorphins are also natural pain relievers. So had my legs kind of been yelling at me or whining, because they weren't screaming, but had they been whining, the entire time, once the endorphins picked up, I didn't notice. And because I didn't notice, you see here, my stride opened up. And pretty much after mile 4, my stride had began to open up. And it opened up under faster speeds. So, nice there. For whatever reason, my stride length wasn't, but then again, I was really cruising around the 7-minute pace. My stride length wasn't crazy long here, but my clearly calories were just going haywire today, all the way through. Interesting here how was it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mile 5. I peaked out at 116, and then things came down. Now, ironically, I slowed the pace down. Say 45 seconds for easy math purposes, and I add 9 calories to the mile. So kind of interesting there. So had I ran 2 miles at the same speed, maybe my calories would have been the same. But that's kind of an interesting look at how your body seems to respond to not only distance, but also progressive speed. So every mile I hit my numbers with regards to a 15-second incremental speed increase, and I'm happy to say my body delivered. Mile 6, as we know, was clearly a surprise because I didn't mean to run a 6:52. I was perfectly content with 7, and quite frankly, at the end of mile 7, I was definitely living in the 180 zone. You can see here. You're definitely in the 179, 180 zone. And as you might imagine, should you've never experienced heart rate that high before, your body's not too highly motivated to do one more mile that feels that way. It's just not. So that's why mile 7 became a recovery mile for me. And I'm okay with that. Clearly, I achieved 5.0. I've never pushed this whole Garmin thing, so Would it go up? Would it say 5.1, 5.2? I don't know. Or does it just stop at 5.0? I don't know. But needless to say, today was clearly an excellent run. It was clearly an excellent day. Days like this make me feel great for two reasons. Not only I lived through this, but also I know that upon recovery, more strength and more improvement will be seen in the following runs in this, be it Saturday and including next week, because I managed to push myself longer, push myself harder for a longer period of time, and in return, my body will adapt. It'll get stronger, so that if I did an apples to apples run next week, those numbers should drop. So that's things like that make me happy. So that's all I've got for you guys today. I hope I didn't make this too long for you. If you like today's video, please hit the like button. If you have any questions or comments, always post them below. I'm always happy to address your questions or comments. And if you're new to the channel, every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, I post new videos on my 16-week marathon training towards my first sub 3-hour marathon. Tuesdays are always interval days. Thursdays are now progressive run days. And of course, Saturdays are going to always be long run days. So that gives you an idea as to what my videos will be on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. So subscribe, join me along my journey to see if I could actually achieve my goal. And to be quite honest with you, there's no guarantees. I'm writing this as I go. This is not like a movie where the end has already been written. You just haven't watched it yet. This hasn't happened. My end hasn't happened yet. So I'm just as eager to see what happens as probably you are. So that's all I've got for you guys today. Again, like today's video if you liked it. Ask your questions or comments below, and subscribe if you're new to the channel. And you guys have yourself a great day, and I'll see you on Saturday. Take care.